Voice. I'm Dean Sinceri, and we are so concerned for you and everyone to really walk in true mental health. And today we have a topic that's very important: unlocking the 5 secrets of mental health. Look, we all want to have good, healthy relationships. We want to feel good about ourselves. And there are 5 secrets that we can unlock to help improve your mental health. And we're going to get into that today. So let's get to number 1. The first secret to uh, unlocking the keys to mental health is physical self-care. You know, there's a real connection between your mind and your body. If you're not eating right, if you're not exercising, if you're not doing the things to take care of your body, it's going to have an impact on your emotional health. You know, if you're not sleeping right, you're staying up all night worrying about something that's bothering you. You're not getting a proper amount of sleep. You're exhausted. You're so much more vulnerable to depression, anxiety, getting angry. Look, you need to dedicate time and effort to make sure you're getting proper nutrition, you're getting proper exercise, that you're doing the right things to take care of you physically, and that will help your mental health increase. Let's get into the second secret to mental health is emotional management. Yeah, you need to learn to emotionally manage your emotions. What is emotions? Emotions are energy in motion. Whenever you experience a life event that's distressing or affects you in some way, the natural response to that is emotion. If I lose something that's important to me, it's natural to feel sadness. If I'm in a place of danger, it's natural to feel fear. If I do something that I feel embarrassed about, it's natural to feel embarrassed. Those are like God's messages to us to let us know that something's going on. If we know how to manage our emotions effectively, we know how to talk them out, we know how to deal with that energy, then we externalize it, we release it. It helps us work well with them. And when we do that, it doesn't get lodged in our bodies. You know, when you think about, if you take a ball of energy and you stick it in a container and you don't release it, and you put another ball of energy in there, another ball, it's going to have expression in some way. And so if you don't know how to manage that energy of that emotional life, it's going to have an impact on you and start to eat away at your mental health. You know, there's a whole realm of teaching called emotional intelligence. And what is emotional intelligence? It's simply learning to manage our fear, our anger, our sadness, our embarrassment, all those emotions in a way that's life-giving, as opposed to acting them out. You know, I was thinking about, I've been to school, went to high school, went to college, grammar school. I never had one course in emotional management. Have you? I mean, that's just not part of our system. And I think that it's so important that we need to learn how to manage our emotions. If you look at that illustration, it says that's about having self-awareness. That's about having self-regulation management. It's about having skills on how to communicate your emotions. Look, you either talk out your emotions or you act them out. You're going to do one of the two. And that we need to be trained. We need to train our children how to externalize it so they don't carry it in their body, because when they carry it in their body, it ends up causing what? Mental health issues. One of the biggest causes I find in mental health issues is old resentments. What is a resentment? Resentment is, sentire is the Latin word to feel. Resentment literally means to re-feel something that you've experienced over and over and over again. If you're carrying lots and lots of resentments over experience that you have, we're all human beings, we all experience difficult events. But if you've internalized those experiences, you carry them on the inside, you're not working with them, you're not getting them out of your system, it's going to have expression in some way. And that's one of the first things that we do when we work with people, is that we help them look at what are the resentments that you're carrying in your life that are causing problems in your life, and how do we help you resolve that? That's all part of emotional intelligence. Let's get into number 3, the third secret to unlocking mental health is you need to learn to challenge unhealthy thoughts. So we have our physical life, we have our emotional life, we have our thought life. Look, not every thought that you have is accurate. Most of them are not. Not every thought that you have that's been given to you from other people are actually true about you. I mean, you could have mean Uncle Joe who always said, "You're so stupid, you're so stupid, you're so stupid." You could be brilliant, but you do something, you mess up something. What's the first thing you hear in your head? You're so stupid. Well, the fact is, you may be brilliant, but this old message that gets played over and over and over again starts to have an impact on how you feel about yourself. It sounds simple, it is, but it's very challenging. In fact, there's a relationship between your thoughts and your emotions, in a sense that all your emotions are created by a thought. And that thought may or may not be accurate. It's accurate to you. If my wife looks at me in a distressing way, and there's a message that says to me, "My wife hates me," well, she probably doesn't hate me. She just might be stressed out about something. But that thought is going to, if I believe that she hates me, it's going to create an emotion, such as a feeling of rejection and so forth. And oftentimes, sometimes our emotions are based on erroneous thoughts, thoughts that we have that are actually not true. So we need to learn and have ways to challenge our thoughts. That's one of the reasons why I like meditating on spiritual truths. Is that when you do that, you're actually renewing your mind to truthful thoughts, to have something to battle against the thoughts, intrusive thoughts that you have. How do you develop these thoughts? Well, they can be through experiences. They can be through things people have said. They could be through watching TV. I tell you, right now, if you want to be anxious and you want to have anxiety about money, watch the news at 5, 6, and 10. And then go on CNN and then watch Fox. Watch them all. And I guarantee you're going to be so anxious about money. Now, you could have a lot of money in your account, but you're getting all these intrusive thoughts that are starting to become part of the way you think, part of the way you think about what's going on. I had this thing lately is that I really minimize, very selective about what I let through my eyes and what I let through my ears, because everything that you let through your eyes and through your ears, you have to deal with. You have to either challenge it, you have to accept it, you have to agree with it. And so you really have to be selective about that. But whatever thoughts are there, we need to learn to challenge it. And in the future, we'll do some shows on how to challenge thoughts and how to change that. But that's the third key to unlocking mental health. Let's get to number 4. Is you need to have a healthy spiritual vision. Yeah, you need to have a healthy spiritual vision. It's been proven through studies that those individuals that attend a good, say, healthy church, a healthy synagogue, that their mental health overall, there's a higher level of mental health, there's a lower level of addiction, there's a lower level of substance abuse, there's a lower level of depression. And that's not to say everybody that goes there is that, but there's percentage-wise. Why? Because I'm being fed spiritual truths. Oftentimes I have a sense of purpose and destiny about my life, so I have a reason to get up in the morning. Oftentimes there's a sense of community and connectedness. All these things contribute to me feeling better about myself. So when we look at the keys to mental health, we look at our physical body, we look at our emotional management, we look at how we're thinking about ourselves. But perhaps the deepest part of ourselves is our spiritual vision. The deepest part of ourselves is how do I have purpose? Do I have meaning? Do I have a reason to get up tomorrow? And that when I have a strong vision about where I'm going and a strong purpose, that helps me fight through any of the resistances that we might have or deal with on a daily basis. And it does have a huge impact on your mental health. And let's look at number 5. Well, before we go there, I just want to give you an example of how your spiritual vision can help your mental health. I remember one time reading about, in a passage in scripture, about the greatest virtues of faith, hope, and love. And the greatest one of those is love. And I was stuck on the word hope. And I started to do investigation. What does hope mean? And I realized that the virtue of biblical hope is different than worldly hope. Worldly hope is wishful thinking. I hope it doesn't rain today. I hope today's a good day at work. Biblical hope is different. And I heard it once defined as the joyful expectation that good is on its way. Yeah, let me repeat that. Biblical hope is the joyful expectation that good is on its way. Now, how do you think that affects your mental health? Say that you hear news that inflation is the highest it's been in the last 2 months and in years, or 30 years or 40 years. Gas prices are the highest it's ever been. You hear all these stories about facts that are happening in the economy, and you start thinking about money. But if you have inside of you this belief that's rising up, which I call biblical hope, that says, regardless of what's happening, something good is on its way. And your heart is firm in that belief. Your mind is firm in that belief. Your spirit is firm in that belief. How do you think that's going to affect your mental health? It's going to have a dramatic effect. Even if things are falling apart around you, if you're able to foster this one virtue in your life, it's going to have a dramatic impact on your level of anxiety, impact on your level of depression, impact on hope in relationships, impact on your temper, impact on all kinds of things. We tend to neglect the spirit level, especially in our scientific world. But yet, look, you can have no belief, you can have no belief in the spirit. But frankly, some of the most miserable people I've ever met have been people that have had no spiritual vision about life. They've been despairing, they've been depressed, they've been usually have a level of arrogance that make them not desirable to want to be around. And I'm not placing fault. I'm just saying that's something that will lead to a decrease in mental health. So going back to biblical hope, it's the joyful expectation that good is on its way. Well, one of the greatest mental health issues that I find that the generation, especially the generations below me, are dealing with is anxiety. So if hope is the joyful expectation that good is on its way, well, what is anxiety? The exact opposite. It's the unjoyful expectation that bad is on its way. Anxiety is ruminating on the fact that something bad is about to happen. It hasn't happened yet, but do you know, if you're stuck in anxiety, you're stuck in that type of attitude, it's going to have an impact on your body. You're going to stimulate your old brain. You're going to be in fight or flight mode. You're going to be driven by fear. It's going to affect your relationships. It's going to affect your production at work. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your eating habits. It's going to affect your digestive system. All these things will happen because of living out the unvirtue of anxiety as opposed to the virtue of biblical hope. So all these different levels do impact you. And, you know, the fifth secret to the unlocking mental health is number 5, which I've been saying all along, is that we're integrated human beings. We are not separate. Our mind is not separate from our body. Our emotions is not separate from our spirit. That we're all integrated. And that even though we may focus on one aspect of ourselves, if we neglect any one of those 5, our emotional life, our physical life, our psychological life, our spiritual life, those 4, if we neglect any of those 4, it's going to have an impact on your mental health. So my message to you is that you need to be committed to working on all 4 levels and keeping those levels sharp. Proper nutrition, proper exercise, learning emotionally to manage, challenge negative thoughts, and have a spiritual vision that works for you, that brings you life, that brings you community, that brings you hope, and you will increase in your mental health. There's 2 resources I'd like to share with you today that can really help you walk in improving those 4 areas. One is actually the book that Holly Kim and I wrote called A Roadmap to the Soul. And it'll help you break down your negative thoughts and understand where they come from. It'll give you some exercises on learning to emotionally manage. It will help walk you through really increasing your spiritual vision that works for you, and certainly encourage you to take care of yourself physically. So we have a link in the description that you can get the ebook or the a hard copy. But I encourage you to get that book and work the exercises in that. And I'm telling you, it will help improve your mental health. The second resource that I have for you right here is there's a Dr. Daniel Amen. He's a medical doctor. He's a psychiatrist. I've studied him for years. He wrote a book called The End of Mental Illness. Any of his books are really good, but this particular one I have in the description, the link, The End of Mental Illness. And in it, he talks about the very same things that we're talking about. He's a specialist in the brain, and he talks about how nutrition and how exercise and how, say, being overweight affect the functioning of your brain that affect your mental health. And he also gives he prescribes medication, but he gives a lot of suggestions on supplements that help your brain. He has a really good perspective. So if you're really interested in going deeper into understanding how to grow mental health, get the End of Mental Illness by Daniel Amen. And we also, if you find value in the videos that we put out, please like our channel so that you can be notified when we release videos in the future and continue to increase. We do a lot of videos on increasing your mental health and also increasing your relationship and your marriages. But connected to all of this in terms of emotional health, emotional management, and growing in your mental health, we did a video called Overcoming Anxiety Now. Given that anxiety is just a real big hot topic right now, 5 steps to a peaceful life. And so go ahead and click that video now if you're interested in going deeper in that, and that will help you in your mental health and dealing with anxiety. Thank you for today, and God bless you. And I have a voice. Have a